So these we called as environment, right? But the surroundings of the business is called as business environment, right? So the factors number of factors affects the business. You can say multiple reasons which affects the business. Those all causes comes under this business environment. You are only focusing on your business and producing the products and supplying the goods to the customers or retailers. It won't help to your business to grow your business, to generate profits and all. Apart from the demand and supply and the needs and wants of the customers or consumers, you need to understand the environment of the business also. You need to understand the business environment also. Then only you will lead business in the market. As you know, market definition, where the place of buying and selling of goods. That is market. In the market, there are n number of factors are there. Competition, right? Substitute goods. So there are n number of factors are there which affects our product price, quality, quantity, and whatever it may. Whether the customer wants to buy or not, decisions and all. First of all, you need to understand the environment. What is that environment? The surroundings of your business. The reasons and causes which affects your business, that you need to understand first. Right? So you can see here. So the business is affects for various reasons. So in that various reasons, we can control some of causes. And we cannot control some reasons or some causes. So some of the internal environment factors we can control, right? But external environment factors we cannot control. Right? So when you are doing business, several times you need to understand the effect of environment. You need to understand clearly about the business environment. Right? So there are, as we said, in production, in selling and distribution, in marketing, sales, whatever it may, there are several factors are there. So we have to consider those factors as business environment. So that we can divide this business environment into two types. That is internal environment and external environment. Internal environment, we can control that factors or causes or reasons. External environment, which we cannot, as a businessman or else a business, cannot control that factors that comes under the external business environment. So the type of factors, causes, or environment we cannot control, right? So for that causes, we need to, of course, we cannot control that affects the business. That's why we have to understand those factors, those environment, those causes. So just we discussed about this internal environment as well as external environment. What is internal environment? When we are discussing about internal environment, we said that we can control those factors, we can control those causes. When it comes to the external factors, we cannot control those environment. Whatever the environment we can control, that comes under this internal environment, internal business environment, we can say like that, right? So internal environment, so business, within the business, right? So it's the PDF is in Telugu. So let's try to make it in English version. It could be helpful for us. Okay, please give me a moment. You can see, just we discussed before the starting the class, and since we have been discussing about this introduction of the business environment. So the business environment encompasses all external and internal factors that influence companies' operations and success. Understanding this environment is crucial for effective strategy development and decision making in business. It provides the context which business operate, shaping opportunity and risk. The differences between the internal environment, including the organization's culture, resources, and external environment, which consists of broader economic, social, political, right? Mastery of these elements empowers leaders to align objectives with market realities and stay competitive. So this is about business environment. So the components of business environment. You must understand the components of business environment. So these are the components of business environment. So micro environment, macro environment, and interconnectedness. So micro environment, it includes immediate actors like customers, competitors, and suppliers. So these directly impact daily day-to-day business activities and required constant attention towards this micro environment. So macro environments, broader societal factors such as economic conditions, political conditions, policies, right, social trends, and technological advances. These shape long-term business conditions and risks. So the interconnectedness, micro and macro factors continuously interact. For example, technological changes, macro, affect suppliers' relations, micro environment, and consumer expectations simultaneously. So the interconnection between these micro environment and macro environment, these are the microenvironment, macro environment, and interconnectedness are the components of the business environment. The dynamics of the business environment. So as you know, the dynamics continuously changing. The environments ultimately changes like that only. So we are studying like that in nature. So constant change and uncertainty. So technology accelerates change, right? So constant change and uncertainty. Business environments evolve rapidly, creating risks and opportunities. Flexibility is essential for survival. So you need to take quick decisions related to the change. For suppose shift, paradigm shift from one phase to one phase is quite natural in the business. So if you observe, I'll give example. So before, I think before 1990s, I'm taking general example. Most probably villages and all the people uses to teeth powders, as you know, Colgate teeth powder, right? Before 90s. Then after the change is there, the customers preferred the paste. So that is the change. So they shifted from Colgate powder to paste. Within that paste, n number of competitors are there. N number of competitors provides toothpaste. And recently you can see Ayurvedic pastes, Patanjali Ayurvedic paste, Meswak Ayurvedic paste. So the change has come in that business, in toothpaste industry. So the Colgate is also produces Ayurvedic, isn't it? And later you can see the Sensodyne and sensitivity issues related to the customers. So everyone is producing sensitive related toothpastes like Sensodyne. Now the Colgate is also producing sensitive related toothpastes. So the constant changes are there in the business. When it is started with the powder, and now we are using uh, Ayurvedic as well as sensitive toothpastes. So in the business, several stages, several levels, the changes are there. So you need to change our decisions rapidly related to the environment. If you are not changing the business, you can lapse your entire business, right? So I will tell you one example. So before, you all know about these ambassador cars, right? You all know about these ambassador cars. So ambassador car is available in only one color, that is white. Later on, they shifted black coated, I think. They produces only white color. So they produces another model is black. In that automotive field, the competitor produces n number of variations, n number of engine powers, n number of color variations. That variation not adapted by the ambassador car. That's why we are not seeing ambassador cars in our, on roads today. Why? Because the change is expecting from the customers. The shift is changed in automotives, but the ambassador car doesn't adapt that shift. So that's why we cannot see ambassador cars on roads today. So that is the examples. So constant change and uncertainty of business environment, and you can see the technological changes. So you can see, I think 19 after independence, 1950s, 1960s, most of the bank employees lost their jobs. Why? Because they cannot adapt the technology. They cannot adapt the technology. So the banking regulations made mandatory of system knowledge of bank employees. Whoever learned about this system knowledge, they survived in that banking field. Whoever doesn't having the knowledge related to the systems, and if they are not trained to related, they are not trained related to this, they got they lost their jobs, right? So nowadays the paradigm shifts to AI, artificial intelligence. If you adapt that, only you can survive in digital platforms, right? Otherwise, you lost your jobs or else your business. Firstly, you can see the open AI chat GPT. Nowadays, in any field, AI is there, like computer is there. I used to tell the students, I don't know it is Kali Yugam or computer Yugam like that. Nowadays, I have to change those words as, I don't know whether it is computer Yugam or artificial intelligence Yugam. Why? Because you need to change that. Technology changes everything. So you need to understand the technology. But suppose, so the zero emission, one of the sustainable development goals are zero emission. So the zero emission means, so the automatives, all automates, So sorry for the disturbance. So this is about the constant change, uncertainty, and technological accelerations. Charger. So the most important concept is Pestley analysis. Most of you know about this Pestley analysis, right? So you can see Pestley, which means political, economical, social, technological, legal, environment analysis, right? Political, economical, social, technological, legal, environment analysis. You need to understand these factors. So regulations, policies, laws related, so that made by the political parties. If the political stability is there, definitely it helps the businesses. Political instability, for suppose Adani shares, take Adani shares. Most of the most of most of us thinks about Modi and Adani's friends. When the Modi government is stable, definitely Adani shares will fly like anything. Which means political stability, it affects the business. That's what you need to understand. For suppose US China trade tariffs disrupts 140 percentage, 400 percentage trade tariffs they are playing. So political, when the Trump take as president, charge as president. So in political change, it affects the businesses, isn't it? And economic factors, key economic indicators, growth rate, inflation, interest rates. According to the policies, the economy is also indicates foreign exchange rates. It comes under the economic factors. Social, for suppose cultural norms. For suppose most of us we are preferring food changes, attitude changes, ethical changes, demographic lifestyles. Likewise, social factors will affect the business. So innovation and technological factors, innovations and research and development, technological disruptions, right? Likewise. So you can see technology, we have to discuss some more examples here. For suppose 2004, 2004, yes, exactly. If I'm not wrong, 2003, 2004, before 2000, the no online buying and selling platforms are there all over the world. So in 2003, Jeff Bezos started Amazon. So initially it is constrained to only buying and selling of goods online, only books. Now you can see everyone depends upon their day-to-day needs on e-commerce platforms. So the technological factor affected the business, right? So nowadays you can see uh, in 2020s, that is about 2000. This is about 20. After 20 years, whatever the products you want, it is delivered in 10 minutes, under 10 minutes, right? So this is the technological factors which affects the business, right? And the competitive forces. Hmm? So this all comes under the business environment. So in next class, we'll discuss what is internal factors and external factors in briefly. Okay. With this, I'm concluding. So we'll meet tomorrow in next class.